Apache JMeter, this link. So first download JMeter. I already downloaded it here. Now extract this to zip folder. Extract to zip folder. So yeah. Okay. Now how to launch JMeter is just click on this. Go to your bin folder. Okay. Extract the JMeter zip folder. Check the JMeter zip folder and go to bin folder inside JMeter and click on JMeter bad file. Bad file. So if you click on this, so it will launch this JMeter. You see here. This will launch the JMeter. You see here. So this will launch the JMeter. Okay. So click on this. So extract JMeter zip folder, go to bin folder inside JMeter and click on JMeter bad file. Now this is a test plan. Okay, test plan. So this is what we want to test now. So test my performance of the application. So the test plan contains 3 important components. This plan. So first is, okay. So this test plan contains 3 important components. So first is thread group. So first is thread group. So what is thread group is? See, basically what we have to test, we have to test our performance of application. Okay. We want to test performance of our application. That means I have an application. Now I want to see this application is still in the test environment. It is not moved to production. It is not moved to the live environment. So only when we move this application to live environment, we get the real users, right? Real users will be accessing our application. Till then, our test environment doesn't have that many users other than our development team and testing team. But we have to hit this application. We have to create virtual users, not the real users. See, when this application is live in production, when this application is live in production, when this application is live in production, we get real users. But before this application is moved to production, we need to create virtual users to test the application in the test environment. So, but before this application is moved, so we have to create virtual users. How will we create virtual users? So we can create virtual users by threads. Threads. You might have studied threads in core Java. Threads. Okay, threads. So threads now, threads are work like virtual users. Okay. Suppose if I create 100 threads hitting this application. Okay, 100 threads hitting this application. That means in the real environment, it is as if 100 users are hitting this application. That means in real environment, 100 users are hitting the application. So who will actually create these threads? So it is your JMeter. So here JMeter will create these threads. So if you use JMeter, so here the test plan contains 3 important components. One is thread group. So in the thread group, okay, this contains group of threads. Group of threads where each thread is works like a virtual user, virtual or simulated user. Okay. So we can create any number of threads. To put the desired load on application. Okay, suppose if we create 10 threads, that means 10 virtual users are hitting the application. Okay. If we create 100 threads, that means 100 users are hitting the application. See, basically what we have to do, see, our application should be stable. Our application should perform well. Even if we keep on increasing these threads, then only our performance testing is success, right? See, when we determine our performance testing is success, so if we see in the real environment, you get lot of users. You get lot of users, right? See, now my application will have 100 users. Tomorrow, my 1,000 users will be hitting my application URL. So even though my application should be stable, should perform well, even for 1,000 user requests. Okay. So that is the intention. So that is the intention here. Okay. So the intention of performance testing is application should perform well, even if more number of users are accessing the application. Okay. So that is what. So that means if we keep on increasing the threads, that means your load on the application will be more, and your application should be able to see if it is a bad application, definitely it will fail. So in the performance testing, you'll be knowing. So whether my application is able to survive the load or not. And if your application is not performing well, there are so many factors. You can improve the code of your application, or you are running in a server, right? You can increase the memory. Okay. So as part of performance testing, suppose if application is working fine for 100 threads or users, but becomes slow when 5,000 users starts accessing. So that means we need to see why application is becoming slow. It should not be. So your real application should be, even if you increase number of users also, it should perform well. See, that is the reason if you say Amazon.com, see Amazon.com, how many live users will be accessing that site? Similarly, irctc.com. So like ICICIbank.com. So they should sustain the load actually. That means we need to see why application is becoming slow and thereby, okay, increase the fine tune the application code or increase the memory usage or memory space of server, memory or CPU of server. So we have to do all this, okay? Right. Yeah. So that's what thread group. So the test plan contains three important components. One is thread group. Second one, HTTP request. So this contains HTTP request configuration where thread group will be invoked. So basically these threads should access this application. And how this application URL is exposed using HTTP, right? Any web application is exposed using HTTP, right? Okay. So contains HTTP where thread group will be invoking. Okay. So this contains the URL of the application. HTTP URL of the application to be invoked by thread group. Okay. Next is C. So there are three components. This test plan contains three components. So one is thread group, another is HTTP request. The next one is a listener. Okay. So this will capture the whole testing process. Whole testing process. Okay, where it shows request response time, okay, like that. Okay, shall we see practical of this? So first I'll open the JMETER. I give some name here. Some demo test plan. Demo test I'll give. So now what I'll do is, this is your demo test. Now I go here, right click on this. Now click on, what is the first component? First is thread group, right? First is thread group. So right click on this, add thread, click on thread group. See, add thread, click on thread group. Okay. See, right click on this, add thread, click on thread group. So add thread group. Okay, click on thread group. So give num demo thread group. Okay. So give number of threads as some kind of, I'll give some 20 threads. Okay, 20 users. Okay, number of threads is 20 ramp up period 1. What do you mean by ramp up period 1 means, like first user will be hitting, after 1 second second user, third after 1 second third user, after on 1 second fourth user, like that. Each if you want to decrease this ramp up also, you can use 0.5. Okay, first user will be hitting the application. Next, after 0.5 seconds, next user. After 0.5 seconds, next user. So like that. So we can define the user, the number of threads and ramp up period, right? That's all. So demo thread group. Suppose if any error comes, just continue. That's all. So we'll give the number of threads, ramp up period as 0.5. Like what is ramp up period? Say first thread will hit the application. Next, after 0.5 seconds, second thread will come and hit the application. After 0.5 seconds, another. So yeah, see this you can change based on your load and all that. Okay, you can configure this. Next, what is next? Next is now right click on the thread group. Okay, see first you have created demo test. Right click on this, you create thread group. Now right click on this. Now create sampler HTTP request. Okay, see right click on the thread group, add sampler HTTP request. Click on HTTP request. And here we have to give which URL we have to hit the application. So we have to give the URL, the server name or IP address. It is a GET request or a POST request. We have to be here. So for that, which URL I will give you? Okay. So let me. I think we'll have some sample URL. Something we can have. Already have that. We can create one simple web application. Simple web application we can create. We can use this application. So what I'll do is, already have this. I'll open. I'll just open this. So already have this order management. This one web application. If I invoke this URL, I get this list. So let me start this application. Run as Java. It is located in 8080. Okay. So what I'll do is, I'll give the port number 8080. I'll give local host. HTTP. Sorry, HTTP. Local host. This port number is 8080. Okay. And it is a GET request. The path is orders. Okay, orders. This is the path. So this is the path. Okay, I'm invoking this endpoint with the get request, and this is the local host. Suppose if it is a remote machine, you have to give the IP address, right? Click on add. I think here we don't need anything. This is my demo HTTP request. Okay, that's all. Colon is not required. HTTP localhost this one and orders. Right? Now what we have to do? So we created now the thread group, the HTTP request. Next the listener. So we have to see the result. Okay, the load testing will show the result. So we can have the listener where we can have now right click on the thread group, add listener. Okay, right click on the thread group, add listener. Give something called view results tree. Okay, this is the listener. Okay, here we can see the result. Okay, here we can see the result. So under thread group, we created this HTTP request and then view results. Now let us start now. Let us start. You should save your test plan before if you're using save your test plan. Okay, I think not required now. Okay, no, I'll say. Now you see here 20 requests got generated. Now go to your this listener. See 20 requests got generated, and you can see the first request load time 149 milliseconds, 30 milliseconds latency. Okay, you have to understand the difference between load time and latency. I'll tell you. So for each request, load time is 150, latency is 147. This is the first user. This is the second user. This is the third user. So load time is 150 milliseconds, latency is 146. Load time is 150, 146. Like that, 20 users. See, 20. I have given 20 threads, right? So 20 users. Okay. So basically, if you see here, you have to understand the time, load time and latency. These two parameters are important. See, basically, I tell you. So latency is the time from before sending the request. So to receiving the first part of the request of response. I'll tell you with the diagram, this one. See, latency is the time from before sending the request to receiving the first part of response. And load time is the time from before sending the request to receiving the last part of response. So latency is this one and load time is this one. The time from before sending the request for receiving the last part of response. Okay. So what do you mean by this? For example, now I'll tell you. For example, let us take, this is my user. User is sending the request through a browser. So this is my web application. Okay. Say for example, user is sending the request. when user sends the request, so user starts sending the request. User starts sending the request at 10. Okay. Okay. So 10:15 a.m. See, like this. So this is at 10 hours, 0 minutes, 1 seconds, 15 milliseconds. This is hours, minutes, seconds, and milliseconds. Okay. Now you know the request will go in terms of packets. Every request will go in terms of packets. Okay, this is one packet. So okay, this is one packet. So the request will go in terms of packets. Request goes in terms of packets. Okay. Now say the request reaches this web application. The request has reached the web application. Okay. The request reached the web application at 10:00:01 dot say 19 a.m. So that means the request has taken, it has started 15 a.m. and this at 19 a.m. because this is in one region. It is a network, right? It is internet. So your user browser might be in India, and this web application is is a server located in US. So traveling the request from here to here has taken say the request has reached in 4 milliseconds from user browser to web application. It's running in server has taken 4 milliseconds. How we know? Because it started at 1:15 a.m. and it ended at 1:19. Okay. Now your web application is taking some time to process. Okay. It is connecting to some database. It is getting the result. Okay. It is taking some time to process. Now it starts sending the response back. So now it starts sending the response back. It starts sending the response back. Now the response started at 10, okay, something like 80 a.m. That means the request reached at 19 a.m. 1 hour. Okay, I think here it is not. Okay, the response started at 10, say some 45 a.m. So that means it has reached 19 a.m. and it has taken some time. 45 minus 19 is how much? 26, right? 26. So 26 milliseconds it has taken time for processing. Taken time for processing. Okay. 26 milliseconds. That means connecting to the database, right? Connecting to the database. So this logic has executed 26 milliseconds and then started processing and now giving response. Now your response again, it is sending in packets. It is sending in packets. Say your first packet has reached first packet has reached user's browser at 10:01 okay 50 a.m. and the first packet of response, you can say last packet of response has reached user's browser at 10:57 a.m. Now what is now latency? Now see, take these differences now. What is latency and what is load time? Your latency is the time from before sending the request to receiving the first part of response. So when the user start receiving the request, this is at 10:50. This one 10:00:01.15 a.m. And when it start receiving the first part of the response, is this one. 10:00:01.15. Now, what is the latency now? The difference now? This is same. The difference is the milliseconds. 50 minus 15 is how much? 35, right? So 35 milliseconds. So latency is 35 milliseconds. So this one, 50 minus 15, okay? Now, load time is what? The time before sending the request, okay? The same time, this time on. 10:15 a.m. So receiving the last part of the response. So what is your last part of the response? This one, right? 10:57. Now, what is the difference between these two? 57 minus 15 is how much? 42, right? So the difference is 42 milliseconds. So what is your latency? Your latency is 35 milliseconds. Your load time is 42 milliseconds. See, this load time will be your complete, whenever you are rendering a page in your web application, this load time will be your complete time to load your complete web page, your HTML page. Everyone clear with this? Everyone understood? Everyone understood? Clear? Any questions? So, like this with the JMETER, you can also test not only HTTP request, you can also test JDBC request, JMS point-to-point request, JUnit request. Okay. All these requests you can test. So HTTP request is one thing. You can test FTP request, JDBC request. Okay, you can test all this. So this is enough for your syllabus. Okay. So JMeter, this is enough for your syllabus. Any questions you have till now? JMeter is done. So JMeter is done. With this, we completed 9 tools. So tomorrow we're going to talk about Jenkins, 10th tool. Yeah, if load time is more, you have to see, like you have to see the application code, like whether you can increase the performance of your application. Okay, like receiving the compressed data. Okay, so that the small size of data will be faster loading rather than larger time of data. So like that you have to see. After getting the load time, how can I say the application is bad or good? See, generally, ideally, any load time should be within very good applications. The request response time should be less than 1 second. If it is less than 1 second, your application is good. If it is taking more than 1 second, then you have to see. So always 1 second, less than 1 second is the standard value. Yeah, 1 second is the standard one. Yeah, you can test any website also. Like, for example, I can create one more HTTP request. Here you can give Amazon request. Okay. Here you can give HTTP. Okay, Amazon.com. Here, that's all. Just give the get path. Okay. Now, go here. Say this is your Amazon request. The response code 503. Service not available. So probably don't use anything here. Don't use anything here. Just click on this. Till it is failing. Response code 503. Probably what we'll do is we can test Amazon, but it is giving response code 503. Yeah, here it is giving correctly. See? Yeah, because we don't have browser, right? That is the reason. But here it is showing green color. Request is failing because we don't have a browser. We are testing in JMeter, right? So request 0, request 1 is success. See, load time 873, connect time latency 873.
Paracetamol.
We don't have browser, right? So that's why it is showing the response code file. Okay. All right then. Any questions till now? So tomorrow we'll start Jenkins.
No.